Chapter 51 to 53. Same time Skypea. In a training hall made with steel, Riki was leaking her sword forward. Slash. She was sweating from her whole body, since she was using 2 swords at once. A few days ago, Amon informed her he will get her 2 beautiful and powerful swords. She was happy hearing it, and since her brother was being so nice, she wanted to use both of his swords at once. So she started to train on it from now on. Though this is very hard with her being only familiar with 1 sword, she felt she could do it. Because most of the time, 2 is always better than 1. A few moments later, Riki took a deep breath. Phew! Straightening her back, she took a stance that she thought of herself. Her legs were far from each other. Her shoulders were firm and her eyes were sharp. She looked ahead and twisted her waist, spinning uncontrollably. Twin sword style, Dragon Slayer. She spun hard and kept spinning, however. It was for nothing as soon. Her swords flew in different directions. Clank, clank. With her head dizzy, Riki also fell on the ground with a thud sound. Ugh, fuck this. I'm aiming too high too young. She gritted her teeth and punched the ground. I need a teacher. A good one. Fuck Gandalf. With no other way, Riki just sighed and decided to complain to Amon later. For now, she will just train normally. Asterisk. Same time Burka. While this was happening, Due, Warashi, and Kamakiri were in Burka. They were here as visitors. Though they knew this was just for spying purposes. They weren't sure why Amon was doing this, though they had guessed. According to which, they should keep doing as Amon asked. After all, they will get their revenge on the ones who killed their ancestors. No one shall stop them from taking revenge, and they were sure Amon had the same thought. For now, they will do things according to plan. Back to Whiskey Peak. Soon after, Amon was sitting in his office with Robin opposite him. Robin was waiting patiently to hear his words. She was fully sober now. Well, first of all, this knowledge will endanger your life. Are you still interested? As Amon asked, Robin smiled. You have no idea. She sighed with a giggle. Anyway, I just want to know, I don't care about my life at this point. Amon also chuckled hearing her and opened his mouth. How much do you know about the world government? Give me a base. If you want to know about world nobles, then you have to know about the world government first. He asked while eating some snacks. Robin started to think of what she knew. Not much, just that the world government is the force ruling over the whole world for more than 800 years now. They have many informants all around the world too. As she said this, Amon raised an eyebrow. She realized this should be confidential information. Don't look at me like that. I have reasons for knowing them. Amon smiled at her. She slipped her words, huh. How rare. Anyway, forget about it. Amon ignored it as she released a relieved sigh. The thing is, your knowledge is close to non-existent. I expected more. As he said this, Robin just stayed silent. Anyhow, as you said, it's a force created 800 years ago. If you look more at it, you will learn that, 800 years ago, 20 kingdoms made an alliance only to fight against the Great Kingdom. They allied against it and finally brought it down. After their win, all of them merged together, except one. Amon raised his finger. Alabasta. While Robin was shocked at his every sentence, Amon reached the part of world nobles, also known as celestial dragons. The world nobles, also known as the celestial dragons, are the aristocratic descendants of 19 of the 20 kings, who established what is now known as the world government. While Amon said this, Robin tried her best to not question his source of information and paid attention to the new information. As descendants of the creators of the world government, the world nobles have the highest authority within the organization. They are free to do as they please without consequences, even commit heinous crimes, and if they are threatened in any way, they have the authority to summon a marine admiral to deal with the offending party. Robin's eyes instantly arched up as she felt her fear rise up within her heart. One name was lurking in her head, Admiral Akiji. Gulp. Let's stop here. I should not think of opposing them anymore. If he comes, even Lucifer will be killed. I don't want him to die. Ever. Robin thought with her forehead going completely cold. For the past 11 years, I've been able to run away and survive no matter what the circumstance. That's only because I had nothing to protect, because I was willing to betray others and use them as a shield. But can I do it after meeting him? After more than half a year of experiencing this treatment, can I betray him ever? Am I really the demon child? A few minutes passed as she rested her head on the chair, and Amon waited for her to calm down. Are you all right? Amon asked as Robin opened her eyes. She didn't notice when the boy came and started to massage her head. A small smile bloomed on her face. I don't know. Her smile contained strange emotions. Amon looked at her with confusion. Oh, being honest after so long. You can continue, but can you keep massaging? She said as Amon nodded. The world nobles constantly abuse their power and look down on the people of lower status than them, referring to them as commoners, Amon said. Even kings and queens are lowly peasants in their eyes and are expected to bow to the whims of the world nobles, or their whole kingdoms could face destruction. Robin was listening less and enjoying his hands more. Time passed and Amon ended his explanation of the world government's bad deeds, their hypocritical ways of declaring owning slaves as an illegal act, yet they themselves do it in broad daylight. Robin listened to it all, and though she did come to despise them, it wasn't as much as Amon had predicted. Her fear was suppressing her hate a little too much, though Amon did have other ways. As Robin looked at Amon, who was massaging her shoulders now, she was questioning herself. When did we become so close that body touching became normal? But this question was a side note. The main question was, Lucy, do you mind telling me why you know so much about world government? Even their past too. You also know about the existence of Pongilfs. Amon smiled at her, as he glanced at her visible cleavage from above. Well, let's say it has something to do with my family's past. The place I live contains a small part of the history. My ancestors were killed, so we became natural enemies. Amon said with Robin having wide eyes. Now, as the leader of my people and the king of the sky, I have the mission to take down the world government. A mission handed to me by my ancestors. No. Suddenly, Robin removed his hands and got up from her seat. You can't do it, she said with her hands on his shoulders. She ignored his other words, his words of being a ruler in the sky, and only paid attention to one line. You can't win against them. They are monsters. You will die. Didn't you say they have the admirals under their direct control? You don't know how dangerous admirals are. Amon just stared at her surprised. He sighed. I'm sorry, but that's something I can't change, not even at your words. He removed her hands while shaking his head. Robin looked at his eyes with disbelief with her mouth agape. Why? Why? Rather. Amon's word brought her back. You should leave the guild, he said with a smile. Now that I cleared my goals to you, you should know how dangerous it is to be with me. The Marines, Cypher Pole, and even all the other factions under the world government will come after me. Robin's face froze. Marines. Akiji. And maybe I really should leave. She wasn't able to think of anything else. Actually, haha. Amon released a sad laughter. I'm sure. I will die. The world government is a strong force after all. My death is inevitable. Believe me when I say I know more about their power than you do. Robin didn't realize it, but her hands moved by themselves. Then stop. You don't have to follow some order given by ancient people. They are just memories of the past. Robin said as she again put her hands on his shoulders. She didn't even realize how she had labeled the word past. Her love for history was being toppled by other new emotions. However, this was natural. Amon smirked internally. While coming to the office, he showed her the watch in his pocket. There he did his trick. He hypnotized her subconscious mind. An order was made the moment she looked at the picket watch. Yes, the order, be truthful to your feelings, was working to its best. Minute passed, as Robin kept staring at him while he kept looking at her too. I am sorry, but I can't do it. I can't reject my ancestors. Suddenly, Amon hugged her tightly. I'm sorry, but you should leave. I will get busy these days, like recruiting strong people for my kingdom, and search for people of survivors of destroyed kingdoms who might hold a grudge against the world government. Haha, I can't believe I have stooped so low to even think of using those people who lost everything in their life. Robin felt his tears dripping down her chest. Then don't. If you don't want to use them, then stop. Please, or you will die. Robin's tears also fell on Amon's shoulders. As seconds passed, Amon laughed lightly. There is a chance for that not to happen. If I'm able to take that chance, then it's a guarantee I will live, and the world government will fall, he said. Robin stopped in surprise. A chance? You see, there are things called ancient weapons, Amon said as Robin stayed silent. She was aware of their existence. If I can find them, then one day I will have enough power to topple their power, the world government's power. He went silent and sighed. Unfortunately, I can't read the Pongilfs consisting of the location of the ancient weapons, he said. If I can find a survivor of the island O'Hara, then things might change. But I'm sure all of them were wiped by the world government. Robin's crying stopped as her eyes grew up. If someone from O'Hara helps you read Pongilfs then, well, then I will be able to destroy the world government to their roots. Amon chuckled. Though it's just wishful thinking for me. Finding a survivor would be hard. I heard there was a little girl who survived, but I'm sure she died for hours now. Boo Jack, one of the siblings said. Yanya sad. The sound is coming from 300 meters underground. Basta, baby, is a monster. Honey Queen corrected herself while eating her food. They ignored the noise and kept eating their food. They were too used to it by now to not do so. Asterisk bam. 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 Asterisk. Amon was punching a giant metallic boulder the size of a poneglyph. This scene looked similar to how Luffy trained his Ryu, albeit Amon was just training normal armament. His hands were going ink black now and then, though most of the time it just shined under the light. Amon had a crazy grin on his face, while his now close to shoulder-length hair, which he slid backward, was dripping in his sweat. Huh. Bam. Just a little more. His hands were hurting badly from the punches, and that would have been the case for the wall too, if it had feelings, that is. It had many craters on it, and many new ones were being created right at the moment. This was the 13th boulder, and more will be needed in the future. Amon could feel how he was getting closer and closer to ink-black armament, as his previous frustration had vanished. Let's break this boulder. Asterisk. Back to the dining room. Now the sounds were gone as they noticed someone coming to the hall through the door. Yawn. Hello, monkeys, prepare the food for me. It was Amon, who was walking alongside a MILF who had a forced smile that everyone could see through. He was walking while stretching, while his body was dripping with sweat. He just took a dip in the pool with the person beside him. Honey Queen glanced at his body for a second with a wide mouth. Damn, he's getting hotter every day, huh? His body was taller than before, around 190 centimeters now. He was growing very fast, and that wasn't just his height. His body's muscles were packed and rocky, and his arms were rock solid too. He still had his lean body, though he also had a muscular chest which perfectly balanced his stature. His 8-pack was clearly visible to the others as well. The Trump siblings just kept staring at him, while he sat on the chair at the middle of the table, the one where the Bear King used to sit before, though now he was just sitting on a chair on the side. Time passed as Amon finished eating, while Honey Queen invited him to her room, though he rejected her since he was tired. Asterisk. Days were passing smoothly, and Amon was also doing good with Robin. He also revealed he's from an island in the sky, and also that sky islands are real, though Robin only believed him because it was him and he had bird-like wings. Amon was also keeping track with Riki on everything that was happening in the sky, and he's been ordering her to do things that she should do. It didn't take long for Amon to appear in the newspaper and be officially enthroned as the best bounty hunter of the generation, with his lone hunt of 16 billion and his guilds, which is his overall collection of bounty being 40 billion bellies. Amon has been too active these days, and since his guild also had 70k members in it, his net worth was increasing in live time. This also picked the attention of people, which it shouldn't have, even though the Marines stayed out of it because of the contract, which they can't just discard. The purpose of the contact was this in the first place, as even though initially it didn't have much use, now it was looking out his back. Not only the Marys, but many people were also seeing Amon as a dangerous man too, though not as dangerous since in the end, he is still a bounty hunter for money. With Robin now managing many things for him, things were also moving smoothly. He had enough trust in her ability and himself to believe that she won't betray him, however. It never hurts to take precautions, so he never forgets to take the report of everything she did and everything that happened. Robin did it happily to be truthful. On the other hand, Cricket also became strong, very strong, as he was the best bounty hunter under Amon as of now. He mostly used his legs for these 2 years, since that's his fighting style. These days he wears a hat, which stops anyone from recognizing him. His leg prowess has improved a lot, as Amon also introduced him to Soru and Jeppo under the name of Fast Walk and Sky Walk. Just like these, time passed very smoothly. Too smoothly, if one had to say. Asterisk. A month later, the 2-year time mark. You will come back, right? Robin nervously asked towards Amon, who smiled at her. Amon was wearing a black jacket with a dark purple shirt under it, along with black pants and black shoes. With his shiny black hair reaching his shoulders, Amon was the definition of man in black, albeit his white wings were only making him look cooler as it went best with the contrast. Today was the day he would leave for the sky. Currently, he was up on the 10th floor of the mayor's building with Robin, as uncertainty was in those eyes in front of him. Look at her. I'm like a drug to her, huh? Amon thought with a chuckle as he walked towards her. He wasn't wrong, she really saw him like that. Hey, Robin, he said, and raised his hands towards her forehead and raised the hair. I will never leave you for eternity. Don't worry, I will come back every week. Smooch. Amon kissed her forehead as her eyes grew. She wasn't prepared for this, but she didn't react much, or at least nothing was shown in her face. Love you, Amon said with a wink and launched himself to the air without waiting for her answer. Love? What type of love? Robin looked at him as he left. Her job was to watch over the guild, which he initially wanted to destroy upon this day. But it was grown too big for its own good, and will help Amon a lot to grow his kingdom in the initial stages. I hope you come back, Lucy. Robin wouldn't be able to take the hit if he does not come back, after all. She's a person who's been brought out from the rabbit hole to above the clouds by him, her so-called brother. Asterisk. Amon was flying while carrying a small boat with his hands. In the boat, Cricket was sitting while he had many bags around him. Whoa, Lucy. Slow down. We are above 8,000 meters. I will never do this ever. By calling him Lucifer for a year and a half, Cricket was more comfortable with it than Amon at this point. Right now, he was shit scared, though he maintained his bright smile still. He was also looking forward to the people Nolan met. He was curious to meet the other descendants of Calgara too, and even Amon's little sisters that he talked about. He was very looking forward to his time in the sky. Asterisk. They have already reached Skypea and met the chief at the gate playing games with Gonfall. Chief was surprised a lot since Amon didn't inform them of his return. More so when he met him, Mont Blanc Cricket. Waha! It's incredible. Calgara, look. This was his reaction. After that, the three of them went to the upper yard, while Gonfall volunteered to guard the gate. He was also a little happy seeing them finally meet the descendant of a great man. The three of them then went to the upper yard using the boat Cricket was on. The chief was too busy with Cricket to notice the bag of money around the boat. If converted, they will be around. Asterisk. Riki was there sparring with Wiper, both relying on their weapons. Wiper became very strong over the past 2 years. He was taller too, around 165 centimeters tall. Ha, dodge this, Riki. Wiper rushed towards Riki with his spear's end about to hit Riki's stomach. Wait. Suddenly, Riki yelled with a frown as Wiper I am. Warrior Wiper. It didn't take long for all the dramatic scenes to come to an end, as finally both Wiper and Cricket started to introduce themselves. Asterisk. It's noon and a big feast was taking place in the upper yard. After learning about Amon's sudden arrival, with the descendant of Noland, everyone got excited. Ha 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 ha. This is fun. Cricket laughed out loud as he had a giant bowl of food in front of him. Rice, meat, fish, crabs, fruits, sweets, spices, and everything that one could imagine. It was there in Cricket's dish. Eat. Eat as much as you like, Mont Noland. Wiper said as he brought more food for Cricket. Wiper, I'm not Noland, Cricket said as he scratched his head. I'm Mont Blanc Cricket, he said while pointing his fingers towards himself. Ha. Amon laughed from the sidelines as he looked at him. Ha, let him be Cricket. He is kinda dumb, so it will take some time. As Wiper acted furiously, Amon just ignored him while Cricket laughed seeing the two. Amon was sitting there with Isa, and Riki. Isa was hiding behind Isa, being a little scared of Amon. She knew they both knew each other, but her 5-year-old mind couldn't remember much. She felt the guy in front was strong, but that wasn't what made her scared, nor was it the fact that she was unable to recognize him fully. The scary part was, even though he was smiling outside, she couldn't even guess what he was feeling on the inside, even with her observation hockey, which was made for sensing emotions. But it's obvious for someone like Amon, who relies on emotion sensing, to have already taken precautions for the same to not happen to him. One's mantra can't suppress one's emotion from being sensed, though. So it wasn't that Isa failed to sense it because of the level difference. Rather, it was Amon himself who used his technique. Isa gulped as she looked at the texts above his head. I'm scared, she thought while looking at Amon. For someone like her who's been able to hear everyone's voice from a young age, this was a strange and scary time for her. She was too young to notice it with Amon before. Her ability to sense emotions were a little different from the norm. It works quite uniquely compared to normal users of observation hockey, mostly because observation hockey varies from user to user. Why is it only him? It's fine with that muscular guy, Isa thought while looking at Cricket, who was laughing. She could see words forming above his head. Those were his thoughts. Though she can't see complex ones, rather, just what he was feeling. Percent, good, nice, love, like, I love, this, place, percent. These words were what was written above his head, and also what Isa was seeing. This was the same case for everyone else too. Upon birth, she couldn't instantly see them, as at first she could just hear them. But now, as time passed, her mantra evolved themselves according to her own preference. Though, in reality, the actual reason is mostly because of the influence of the other hockey users around him. She hated those bad, war, fight words on her head lingering all the time before. So, her mantra evolved to something where she doesn't have to hear them, and rather can just look away from the words. Amon was a special case after her awakening. It's not that she couldn't see any words, it's just that the words didn't make any sense. Percent, imtheon, HZZZZ, haha, jam, huja, percent. This was what she was able to see above Amon's head. No, it wasn't that Amon had some kind of special cheat-type ability from birth. Rather, he was doing it willingly by himself. He didn't want his mind to be read by anyone, so he took a very few precautions. To simply put it, Amon's brain was working on two routes. 1, his normal thinking, which was at the back of his mind. 2, his gibberish words that were going on in the front of his mind. Isa's ability was only able to see the one at the front, not the one going on in the deep of his mind. It wasn't something impossible to do, as with training even normal people would be able to do so. Though it was kind of annoying at first with the gibberish words in his mind, Amon was fine with it for now. In all actuality, he's been doing this for more than 10 years now. Hey, Isa, don't be scared. Suddenly, surprising Isa, Amon put his hand on her head. She flinched a little, yet her eyes grew the next moment. Big brother won't hurt you. To Isa, suddenly the words were readable now. Percent, such. Cute. Sister. I have here. Percent. Her fear slowly vanished, though she would never learn about the truth. Asterisk. It was evening and Amon was sitting along with Cricket in a corner. The feast was still going on, but Amon and Cricket had enough food already. Though they still pushed both Cricket and Amon to eat as much as they could, they finally got out of that place. Ahaha, it's fun living here, huh? Cricket as Amon also laughed a little. Kinda, but it wasn't always this fun, Amon said as Cricket looked at him. We used to live, or if I have to be honest, we used to hide in a corner of this island before. Until 4 years ago, we started to live here again. This piqued Cricket's curiosity as he raised an eyebrow. Really? I thought you guys had been living here for 400 years. What happened? Hearing him, Amon chuckled. Well, let me explain a little. So, after that, I became God while the previous guy started to live as a Sky Knight. Damn, for real. You are God. Cricket jumped up and looked at Amon with strange eyes. Hey, calm down. I already explained it's like a mayor's position. Amon said, though Cricket didn't calm down. Amon chuckled on the ground. Fine, then be it. Little bastard.